Hey guys, I've got another hacks video for you. These will be some shortcuts that you can use in your kitchen, as well as different swaps that you can use in your vegan cooking to level up your game and make things easier, because we all want easy. So let's get into it. My first hack is to chop once and use twice. So if you're someone who doesn't like to prepare and chop and you find it very tedious, if you're gonna chop an onion for something, chop 2 onions and then freeze the other one. Onions freeze really well, retain their nutrients, and then you already have chopped onion to add to something else. You can do this, of course, with any vegetable. Again, if you don't like cooking, cook a double batch of a certain dinner that you're gonna make, and then you can have it later in the week, or you can even freeze it. Makes things much easier. A garbage bowl is my next hack. And this is just something, any kind of bowl, that I place on the counter when I am peeling potatoes or chopping and I have excess. It's easier for me rather than, bending down over the garbage can, which I hate, and it feels like very laborious. It's easier for me to just put all the garbage in a bowl, then I can throw it right into my composter, or you can throw it into the garbage later. Makes things much more streamlined and easy and less messy. I love making soup, and I make soup all the time, but what I hate about soup is mushy vegetables. So I have 2 things that you could try. One is if it's a pure vegetable soup, say like zucchini, potatoes, carrots, celery, all of that. Once you're in the simmering phase, only simmer for 10 minutes. What this will do is leave your vegetables tender rather than mushy. Because you have to think, when you're making a soup, it's still going to be cooking once you turn the gas or the stove off. So that's what actually turns it mushy, is having it sit there in that hot pot. So if there's ever a cook time on a recipe that is 15 to 20 minutes and it's primarily vegetable, do the least amount of cooking because you know it's gonna keep cooking. Another thing that you could do is add your veggies in the last portion of cooking the recipe, and that will let them stay tender. Tender is great. You're gonna retain more nutrients as opposed to mushy, and it just tastes better as the week goes on if you've prepared something ahead of time. So omega-3s are really, really important to our health and our just function in our brains and our bodies. And a great source of omega-3 are flax seeds, but you can't eat these whole because you don't get the proper nutrients, and so they need to be ground. So my hack is to grind as much as you need for what you're using immediately. When you buy pre-ground flax, you might think that this is more convenient, but the truth is that it's oxidized and it loses the nutrients, so you want to grind them fresh. Now, these will grind easily in a smoothie, like in a high-speed blender, but if you don't have a high-speed blender, one of the easiest ways to grind flax is just with like a coffee grinder. So grind up only as much as you need for the omega-3s because they will oxidize and they'll become inactive really quickly when they're exposed to air. Now, if you're doing whole flax or chia into a smoothie with a high-speed blender, you don't have to worry about it oxidizing because the liquid will actually protect the oxidation from happening. So not to worry in that situation. Here's one that I love. If a recipe calls for grated ginger, of course you can use a box grater, but it's kind of a hassle. So what I've been doing lately is using my garlic press to press the ginger. It comes out with the same texture and it just feels easier. Next up, use fresh herbs when you can. You're going to get so much more flavor when you're using the fresh herbs. They're much stronger. As soon as you dry them, they're oxidizing, they're losing some of the potency. Now, there's a time and a place for dried herbs, of course, and I know that makes it easier, but when you can use fresh herbs, I totally recommend you do that. And what's great is, yes, I have this here for the summer and the fall, but in the winter, these are some of the easiest things to grow on the windowsill in your kitchen and have access for recipes that are bursting with flavor. So one of the questions I get a lot for recipes that I share online are, what substitutions can be made if you have an allergy? So I'm gonna give you some substitutions for some pretty common allergies that I hear most of the time. So if you're looking for a peanut sub, you can use cashews, almonds, and any sort of seed. That will totally sub for peanuts or a peanut butter. For tree nut allergies, it's gonna be the same thing. You're gonna look to the seeds: sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, in their whole form or in a seed butter type of form. If your allergy is wheat, then you can use things like rice flour, rye flour, or even gluten-free oat flour. Tapioca starch or powder, arrowroot powder, these are all really, really great. A lot of times you'll find like a gluten-free flour mix, and I'm gonna share a little mixture that you can try for yourself if you're trying to sub all-purpose flour. This seems to be a good mix of all of them and work well for subbing all-purpose flour. Now, if we're talking pasta, you can always sub for a rice pasta, a quinoa pasta, or even a corn pasta. Or my favorite, just skip the grains altogether and use some zucchinis, spiralize them, and make some zucchini noodles. Those are really fresh and delicious. They will leave you feeling light when you have your meal of a pasta dish with a zucchini noodle, and it's a great way to get in more veggies if you want to go that route. So we make pizza pretty much every week, and one of the things that I didn't like was that my whole food plant-based crust was pretty hard and crunchy. So I was looking for a substitute for oil in like a pizza dough crust, and here's what I've found. So you can substitute a high quality, minimally processed plant-based yogurt in like a plain flavor for oil in a pizza dough to make it a little bit softer and more moist rather than like cardboard crust. Now let me show you 3 secret weapons I have for cooking. We've got maple syrup, balsamic vinegar, and lemon juice. So if you've made something too vinegary or sour, you can balance that with a little tiny splash of maple syrup. You can use this in a tomato sauce if it's feeling too bitter. You can add it to different salad dressings or fruit salad to make it more floral. It can bring a depth of flavor to anything that's slow cooked or made in the Instant Pot. I get a lot of comments about maple syrup being too high in sugar and you shouldn't use it and it's not a health food. I'm definitely not saying to use cups and cups of maple syrup, maybe like a teaspoon in your salad dressing. For me, I find that if my salad dressing is good, I can eat mountains of vegetables, and if I don't like my salad dressing, for example, I'm not gonna eat it. So a little bit of maple syrup, in my opinion, is not wrong. Balsamic vinegar is great in salad dressings, but I also like to add it to different sauces or pasta dishes because it adds a real depth of flavor that you're not going to get from anything else. And often this can help you balance flavor. If you've made something and it's just overly sweet or just lacking a zing, something like balsamic vinegar can really make a big difference. So you can really brighten the flavor of any soup or stew with a drizzle of lemon juice right before serving. You can use the zest of lemon for things like pesto or dressings to just give it an extra little kick. If you're someone who doesn't like to use vinegar, lemon is a fantastic sub. And if you want to keep apples or artichoke fresh, you can just immerse them in a little bit of water and lemon juice, and that will help them not to brown. A great way to challenge yourself to eat more variety is to think about eating seasonally. Now, this will give you a different variety of ingredients to work with, and it will help you save money because when you eat what's in season, most of the time at the grocery store, it's going to be a cheaper piece of produce than things that are not in season and that need to be trucked in from all over the world. So not only will you save money when you cook with foods that are in season, it's also going to be higher quality, you're going to get more nutrients, and it's going to taste better, equaling better dishes, equaling you getting healthier. So right now, tomatoes are definitely in season and they're popping off. So I've been doing tons of tomato salads, pasta sauces, blended tomato soups. These are peak of the season. They're so delicious, and you can find the same in your grocery store right now if you're watching this at the same time. So there you have it, some more hacks to make things more simple for you in the kitchen while you are on your plant-based journey. If you have a hack that you really enjoy and that you think myself and other people watching this would enjoy, please leave it down in the comments below, and I will link all of my other hack videos because I know you guys love these down in the description, and I will see you in my next video. I'm wishing you all the health and all the wellness. Bye-bye.